What's up everyone? In this video, I'm going to teach you how to snatch. Before I get started, I want to say that I do not consider myself an Olympic weightlifter. I've actually only competed in one Olympic weightlifting meet since this video was made. I am definitely a noob. So, obviously, needless to say, I am not an Olympic weightlifting coach, and I am not pretending to be. That's why I am not charging anyone for this knowledge. I'm creating a free video tutorial instead. Now that that is out of the way, I will say that I have a good amount of useful information and I simply want to share it with you guys. I do feel like I understand the snatch, and I know that a lot of you have no concept of where to even start with this movement. I hope this video gets you started in the right direction. The snatch is one of the two contested lifts in Olympic weightlifting. It is performed by lifting a barbell from the floor to overhead in one single motion. The snatch requires more power than any other barbell movement because of the distance the bar has to travel and the short amount of time in which the job must be done. The snatch is not and should not be reserved for competitive weightlifters only. Just because you do not plan on competing in Olympic weightlifting does not mean you have to miss out on the benefits of the movement. One great thing about the snatch is the wide range of variations that can be performed. If you cannot catch the barbell at the bottom of an overhead squat, it is not the end of the world. You can still perform a few snatch variations that will require plenty of power with less range of motion. Whether you're a future competitive weightlifter, a football player, a track and field athlete, an old fart, an iron junkie, or a garage gym cellar dweller, you can learn a lot from this video. There are plenty of ways to teach the snatch. I am not suggesting that my way is the only way. Different lifters respond differently to the same cue. What makes sense to one person might not make sense to another. Try things out. If they work, great. If they don't, keep learning. There was once a time when I thought the snatch could not be taught slowly. I was wrong. You need to break down the movement into small chunks and learn how to feel the movement. As the movement becomes smoother, speed can be added little by little. We're trying to grease the groove here. I have created this video in phases. Learn to feel and understand each phase before moving on to the next. You can start learning these phases on a PVC pipe, a broomstick, a training barbell, or an Olympic barbell. Some people think you need to start on a barbell to feel some weight in your hands, but I don't agree. A barbell will make some of the movements difficult to perform for multiple reps. A PVC pipe is fine at first. Your hand width on the bar will determine the distance the bar has to travel. A narrow grip will cause a higher finishing point than a wider grip. Your hand width will also be determined by your shoulder and thoracic spine mobility. Catching the barbell at the bottom of an overhead squat with a narrow grip demands extreme shoulder mobility. A wider hand placement will feel much more comfortable. Too wide and the pull will place a lot of strain on your wrists, causing a weakened grip in the initial pull. It will also place the bar dangerously close to your head, making bar crash extremely dangerous. As a general guideline, you should place your hands on the barbell at a width that puts the barbell in the crease of your hips between the pubic bone and the top of your hip bone. When you lift your knee, the barbell should not move. This will account for differences in arm and torso length. Now that your hands are in the correct position, let's move on to phase 1. Phase 1 is a simple drill to teach you how to use your entire body to move the barbell up, mainly your hips. Slightly bend your knees. Keep your elbows pointing out, arms relaxed. Sit your butt back and let your shoulders travel forward. Keep the barbell against your thighs by keeping your lats tight. Stop around mid-thigh. The weight should be on the front of your heels. Reverse that movement by sliding the barbell back up your thighs, extending at the ankles, knees, and hips, and shrugging the weight up. You should be able to maintain balance throughout this entire movement. If you find that you are being pulled forward, you are most likely swinging the barbell out away from your body. Keep the barbell close to your body while shrugging up. The purpose of this phase is just to teach you how to synchronize your body when moving weight. Use your hips to move the weight, not your hands. You should be making bar body contact between the barbell and your hips. Once you are comfortable with phase 1, you are ready to move on to phase 2. During phase 2, you will be performing phase 1 with an added high pull. Slightly bend your knees. Keep your elbows pointing out, arms relaxed. Sit your butt back and let your shoulders travel forward. Keep the barbell against your thighs by keeping your lats tight. Stop around mid-thigh. The weight should be on the front of your heels. Reverse that movement by sliding the barbell back up your thighs, extending at the ankles, knees, and hips, and pull the barbell up. Your elbows should be pointing up, not back. At the top of the movement, the barbell should feel weightless. Relax your grip. The prime movers of this movement are still your hips, not your arms. Your hips are accelerating the barbell up, while your arms are simply guiding the bar path. Think of your hips as the engine and your arms as the steering wheel. You should be making bar body contact between the barbell and your hips. Once you are comfortable with phase 2, you are ready to move on to phase 3. During phase 3, you will be performing phase 2 with an added press. Slightly bend your knees. Keep your elbows pointing out, arms relaxed. Sit your butt back and let your shoulders travel forward. Keep the barbell against your thighs by keeping your lats tight. Stop around mid-thigh. The weight should be on the front of your heels. Reverse that movement by sliding the barbell back up your thighs, extending at the ankles, knees, and hips, and pull the barbell up. Your elbows should be pointing up, not back. Once the elbows reach their maximum height, turn the arms over and punch the barbell into the overhead position. Your elbows should remain in approximately the same position during the turnover. Do not allow your elbows to drop as you transition into the overhead position. Once the barbell is overhead, your hands should be in a relaxed position, allowing the barbell to rest slightly behind the center of the forearm. Having an extremely tight and rigid grip on the barbell will put the barbell too forward in the hands. This is incorrect. Once you have turned the barbell over into the overhead position, it is okay to lose your hook grip. Let's take a second to briefly talk about shoulder positioning when the barbell is in the overhead position. Correct shoulder positioning is achieved with complete retraction and very slight upward rotation. Complete or significant shoulder elevation should be avoided, as this causes a floating shoulder. You cannot jump under a 300-pound barbell and expect to stabilize it in an overhead shrug position. Creating this floating shoulder is unstable. Your shoulder blades should be retracted and compacted. Driving your head forward will help you lock your shoulder positioning in. Bringing your head back can bring the shoulder blades apart. From a side view, the barbell should be placed directly above the base of the neck. Now that you understand how to get the barbell overhead, you are ready to learn the Power Snatch. The Power Snatch is executed exactly like the Snatch, the only difference being that the receiving position is much higher with the thighs greater than 90 degrees, or a quarter squat. During this phase, you will be learning how to adjust your feet while turning the bar over in order to transition into the receiving position. Slightly bend your knees. Keep your elbows pointing out, arms relaxed. Sit your butt back and let your shoulders travel forward. Keep the barbell against your thighs by keeping your lats tight. Stop around mid-thigh. The weight should be on the front of your heels. Reverse that movement by sliding the barbell back up your thighs, extending at the ankles, knees, and hips, and pull the barbell up. Your elbows should be pointing up, not back. Once the elbows reach their maximum height, turn the arms over to punch the bar into the overhead position. While you are performing this muscle snatch, you need to adjust your feet to a comfortable receiving position. Most individuals pull the bar with a narrower stance than their overhead squat stance. Now is the time to adjust your feet by popping them out. This transition under the barbell is known as the third pull. The first pull is from the ground, The second pull is at the hips. And the third pull is your deliberate attempt to pull yourself under the barbell. When first starting out with a PVC pipe or a barbell, you will not completely understand the feeling of pulling yourself under the barbell because you have no weight to pull against. I weigh 230 pounds. I can't pull myself under a weightless PVC pipe. As you start to add weight, you will better understand this cue. Be patient. It is important to understand that you only need to elevate your feet enough to adjust to a wider receiving stance. There will be an audible slap between your feet and the platform, but it should occur as the result of you deliberately popping your feet out and pulling yourself under the barbell, not because you're kicking your heels up like a cheerleader. Your feet should actually start to transition before you pull yourself under the barbell. This will ensure your feet make contact with the platform around the same time you catch the barbell overhead. During this phase, you are being introduced to what's referred to as a double knee bend. Bending your knees initially to get into the power position, fully extending the knees, and then bending your knees a second time in order to catch the barbell in an athletic position. Do not make the mistake of extending your knees and landing with straight legs. Think of it as landing a jump. You bend your knees first to jump and absorb the impact by landing in an athletic stance with bent knees. You do not land with straight legs. Once you have mastered the hang power snatch, you are ready to move the barbell down to the floor. When performing power snatches from the floor, it is important to start with the barbell at regulation height. A 45-pound plate or a 25-kilo bumper will place the barbell around 9 inches off the floor. You should use regulation size training plates that are available in as light as 5 pounds. If you do not have access to training plates, you can place blocks under the barbell to prop it up. You will not be able to get into the correct starting position using 5-pound iron plates. Place your feet about hip width and your toes and knees angled slightly outward. Place the barbell over the balls of your feet. Set your hips and back in a position that puts your arms vertical to the barbell when viewed from the side. Keep your back in extension, head and eyes straight forward. Once you are in the correct starting position, you are ready to break the barbell off the floor. The initial pull of the barbell from the floor is accomplished through knee extension, opening up the angle of your knee. The angle of your back should not change as you pull the barbell up. This means the angle of your hip should not change until the barbell passes the knee and you begin to transition into the second pull. Using your lats, pull the barbell back into your body as you push your knees back. This slight shift back towards your body is referred to as the sweep. Pulling the barbell slightly back, the sweep, will move your position from arms vertical over the bar to shoulders covering the bar with your arms angled slightly back. Once you have pulled the barbell high enough, you are now in the hang position that I discussed earlier. Once you are ready to snatch, you can simply blend the power snatch and the overhead squat into one smooth motion. Over time, you can completely eliminate this pause. If you cannot correctly perform an overhead squat, you are not ready to move on to the snatch. The overhead squat requires a lot of mobility in the ankles, hips, thoracic spine, and shoulders. If your mobility is not up to par, find some mobility resources and work on it. This video was made to teach the snatch, not spend 15 minutes talking about how to improve mobility for the overhead squat. In a correct overhead squat, the barbell is placed in the overhead position described earlier in this video. Squat down just as you would if you were performing a high bar squat. Head and eyes straight forward, vertical torso, knees out, full depth. To gain some confidence in dropping under the barbell, you can perform a drill called the snatch balance. At first, you can perform a pressing snatch balance in which you push press the barbell up while dropping under the barbell. As you gain the confidence needed to drop under a barbell with your arms extended overhead, you can perform a true snatch balance. The difference between the pressing snatch balance and the snatch balance is that there is not upward movement of the barbell. Keeping the barbell where it's at, Imagine you were standing on a trap door and it opened up beneath you. Drop under the barbell, move your feet, and punch your arms up as quickly as possible. Again, there should be no upward movement of the bar. Your body and the barbell are both dropping at the same rate. This forces you to press yourself under the barbell rather than just passively dropping under the barbell. So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and always remember, tread on time.